Welcome to the SmartKeys podcast.
Glad to be here.
So if I give you like 4 hours to write a standard project brief, it'll probably take you 4 hours.
Oh, absolutely.
But if I give you 30 minutes to write that exact same brief, it will likely take you 30 minutes.
Yeah, it's funny how that works.
Right. Today, we are looking at why your calendar is essentially lying to you and how you can fundamentally change your relationship with the clock.
Because we operate under this illusion that time is this fixed objective measure of how long a task requires. But in reality, time is highly malleable. It's based on the boundaries we set or, well, fail to set around our attention.
Which brings us to the focus of today's deep dive.
Right.
We're exploring a really comprehensive resource published on smartkeys.org by Felix Römer.
Right.
It's titled The Timeboxing Playbook, Structuring Your Day for Maximum Efficiency. And the mission here is to move past all that generic time management advice that just, clutters up the internet.
Yeah, the stuff that doesn't really work.
Exactly. We want to understand how a specific targeted strategy, timeboxing, offers a true insider advantage for modern professionals trying to drive, genuine business efficiency.
Instead of just looking busy.
Right, exactly. I like to think of your workday kind of like packing for a trip.
Oh, that's a good way to put it.
If you have a massive suitcase, you'll pack a bunch of unnecessary stuff. You just will. But if you only have a small carry-on, you are forced to be ruthless about what really matters.
What's fascinating here is there's actually a formal term for that suitcase analogy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's known as Parkinson's Law. It's this principle that work expands to fill the time available for its completion.
It just stretches out.
Exactly. Time boxing is basically the ultimate antidote to Parkinson's Law.
Because it forces the issue.
Right. It forces decisions and reduces wasted effort. If you leave a tight boundary off a task, it signals to your brain that, endless exploration is safe.
You start endlessly tweaking fonts.
Yes. Tweaking fonts, reconsidering formatting, agonizing over, single adjectives.
The fluff.
Yeah, your brain prioritizes the illusion of perfection over actually finishing the thing. Time boxing acts as that small carry-on suitcase.
It puts a rigid limit on things.
By placing that rigid limit on how long a task gets, you trigger your brain's internal resource management. You basically force it to identify the minimum viable product and just abandon the superficial stuff.
To understand how to actually deploy this in a real corporate environment, we need to look at where it came from.
Right. The history is super important here.
Because this strategy didn't just originate from, a lifestyle influencer on social media. It was forged in a highly technical, really deadline-driven industry.
Yeah, the DNA of time boxing comes directly from Agile software development.
Okay.
If we rewind to 1991, software engineer James Martin introduced the concept in his book, Rapid Application Development.
1991, wow.
Yeah. At the time, the software industry was just notorious for catastrophic delays.
Yeah.
Because engineers, naturally want to build the most elegant code possible.
They want to add just one more feature.
Always one more feature or optimize one more function. Martin recognized this psychological trap.
He saw Parkinson's Law in action.
Exactly. He realized that if you do not artificially constrain the time allowed for development, the product never actually ships. Scope creep just consumes the entire budget.
And we still see that methodology dictating how high-performing tech teams operate today, right?
Absolutely.
A daily Scrum meeting is capped at exactly 15 minutes.
Yep.
Sprint planning is cut off at 2 hours. The timer becomes, the ultimate authority in the room.
It enforces a predictable rhythm. It completely overrides analysis paralysis because the team knows the clock will run out.
They can't just debate forever.
Right. They are forced to align, make a definitive choice, and move forward, rather than circling the same technical debate for 3 days.
Okay, let's unpack this because I have to be honest. I'm looking at this and thinking, I already do this.
Most people think they do.
Right. I block out 2 hours every Tuesday morning for deep work on my calendar. I schedule 30 minutes on Fridays to clear out my inbox.
Yeah, that's super common.
So wait, isn't this exactly the same thing as time blocking, just putting an event on your calendar?
They frequently get confused, but they serve completely different psychological functions. They are fundamentally different mechanisms.
How so?
So, time blocking is purely an administrative act. When you block 2 hours on your calendar, you're simply building a fence around that time so a colleague can't schedule a status meeting over it.
I'm defending the territory.
Exactly. You are guaranteeing the space for the work to happen. But time boxing is what happens inside that defended territory.
Oh, I see.
It's an execution strategy. It intentionally limits the maximum amount of time you will endure a task And crucially, it strictly requires an end-of-block review.
So blocking guarantees the time, but boxing forces the sprint.
Exactly. You use blocking to reserve the hour, but you place a 30-minute time box inside that block to prevent overthinking and force a decision. One holds the space, the other forces a mandatory stop and an inspection of the outcome.
That mandatory stop makes all the difference. But that brings up a practical concern for me.
Sure.
Now that we know what it is, how does a professional actually deploy this without completely stifling their own creativity?
That's the big question.
Like if I'm in the zone, I don't want a timer telling me to stop thinking.
And the playbook addresses that exact friction by dividing the strategy into two distinct frameworks. You have hard time boxes and you have soft time boxes.
Okay, break those down for me.
A hard time box is that rigid boundary. The clock hits 0, you genuinely stop.
Pencils down.
Pencils down. It is perfect for managing scope on routine tasks, administrative stuff, and especially meetings.
To stop backlog bloat.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But for complex problem-solving, early-stage research, or, creative flow where you really need momentum, that's where you use a soft time box.
So it's more of a suggestion.
Right. It acts as a suggested wrap-up. When a soft time box expires, you evaluate your progress, capture your current train of thought, and then gracefully transition out.
That makes so much sense. And the playbook provides some very specific practical ranges for these, too.
It does.
Like for quick work answering emails or triage, it suggests a window of 30 to 60 minutes.
Yeah.
But for focused sessions like writing or coding, it recommends 60 to 120 minutes. And there's a fascinating science tip from the text here about that upper limit.
The 90-minute rule.
Yes. Human cognitive focus rarely sustains itself past 90 minutes.
Yeah, that ceiling is tied directly to our ultradian rhythms.
Yeah.
The human brain isn't a perpetual motion machine. As you push closer to that 90-minute mark, your brain builds up cognitive fatigue.
So attempting to grind through hour 3 without a break is just counterproductive.
It's worse than counterproductive.
Yeah.
You're generating lower quality output that's going to require heavy revision later, making strategic breaks totally essential.
And for fast momentum, the text mentions the Pomodoro technique, right? 25-minute sprints.
Oh, Pomodoro is fantastic. It lowers the barrier to entry because anyone can endure a difficult task for just 25 minutes.
But to execute any of this, you need the right tools.
Yeah, modern teens use specific software features for this. Using a visible timer is absolutely crucial. You have to externalize the timekeeping.
Externalize it, meaning like don't just use the clock on the wall.
Exactly. You can't manage a time box by casually glancing at the corner of your screen. The tool holds the boundaries so your brain can be 100% dedicated to the problem.
That takes the anxiety away.
It really does. And teams are integrating this with project management platforms like Asana and time tracking tools like Clockify.
To measure actuals versus estimates.
Yes. Logging your outcomes forces you to confront empirical data about your own working speed. It stops backlog bloat and makes future planning highly accurate.
So zooming out from the tactical timer on a desk, how does this actually translate to staying ahead in a competitive business landscape?
It comes down to the cost of multitasking. The playbook delivers a really heavy-hitting stat here.
What is it?
Multitasking can eat up to 40% of your productive time.
Wait, really? 40%?
40%. Because when you bounce between a complex spreadsheet and a rapid-fire chat window, your brain experiences cognitive friction.
It has to load and unload the rules for each task.
Right. And by creating a predictable, goal-oriented schedule using time boxing, professionals drastically lower that cognitive load and actually recover those lost hours.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. It's the psychology of actually doing this.
Oh, the psychological part is huge.
The playbook warns against being a drill sergeant with your schedule. Instead, it suggests treating your day like a laboratory.
Yeah.
Acting like a scientist who gathers data, adjusts, and iterates quickly based on reality. Because if you act like a drill sergeant and you miss one time box, the whole day feels ruined.
Exactly. And that triggers something called psychological reactance.
Was that?
If people feel force, even by a timer, they set themselves their subconscious rebels. We actively resist the constraints.
So we sabotage our own focus.
Yeah, we do. The strategic insight is to reframe time boxing as a choice. Instead of, I am forced to do this, the narrative becomes, I get to follow this rhythm.
I get to follow this. Yeah.
This restores agency for individuals and for teams as well.
So bridging all these psychological insights into actionable steps, what's the best way for you, the listener, to start doing this today?
The playbook advises starting incredibly small. Do not try to time box your entire day tomorrow.
That would just be a shock to this system.
Total shock. Pick one task you habitually overwork, like drafting 3 complex emails,
Okay.
and just time box it for 30 minutes today.
Yeah.
Prove to your own nervous system that it works.
And this is a game changer for team meetings too, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
By putting specific, minute allocations next to each agenda item and using hard and soft limits with clear signals, like a chime or a chat nudge, businesses can run significantly tighter, actionable meetings.
So what does this all mean? By matching your intent to the calendar, focus isn't just a fleeting feeling anymore. It becomes a repeatable strategic habit that leaves you feeling in control of your digital workday.
Exactly. It's about restoring that control.
Well, thank you for listening to the SmartKeys podcast. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast so you never miss a deep dive, and we highly encourage you to read Felix Römer's full article. You can find the link right in our show notes.
And I want to leave you with one final, intriguing question to mull over.
Let's hear it.
If you were forced to cut the time you spend on your most dreaded weekly task in half starting tomorrow, what decisions would you suddenly be forced to make differently?
Ooh, that's a great question to end on. See you next time.